Hello, my very dear Capricorns. So the first thing that I see as I'm starting to work with your energy is you working over a board, a surface, a disc, and you've got all these little tiles, and it's almost like they're puzzle pieces. But as I look at them, they're all square. And but yet you're still trying to fit them together in a way that makes sense. And then I realize it's like they're old-fashioned printing presses or Scrabble pieces. Scrabble pieces is what I'm hearing now, is that you're trying to make words from all these different letters. You're trying to make sense of it, but it's not actually a Scrabble game. It's a whole big board like this. And it's like you're trying to put these things together in a way that makes sense to you. And what Spirit then shows me is, it's like you're thinking really hard about it. And what Spirit is saying is, toss them into the air and let them land. Because by tossing them into the air and letting them land, what you're doing is you're allowing for the energy beyond you to give you the information that you need, beyond you're trying to figure it out and beyond you're trying to sort it out. Now, I'm looking at that, and the sense that I'm getting with that is that you're moving from this sense of agitation and fear and trying to figure it out to a sense of not really so much abandon as a sense of trust. You're moving towards trust. And the song that came into my head was "Quit Playing Games with My Heart." Now, I'm sure, so theoretically, this is for the week of September 1st, but really it's for whenever you hear it and it resonates, because everybody's on a slightly different timeline depending upon where they are in their path and what other planets are influencing them. It obviously won't be for every Capricorn. But I feel, because it's this specific song, which is about heartbreak, being cheated, not being cheated, but heartbreak. Quit playing games with my heart. That there is, for some of you, not for all of you in this reading, but for some of you, that it will be related to past events that you've experienced in terms of heartbreak, in terms of having been lied to, having been betrayed, or just not having read the situation correctly in a way where you were able to see beyond your own fantasy of it to what was really going on. The thing is, what I see from this image is that you don't necessarily realize that fear has been motivating you in your inability to let life flow, to let the energy of life and the different components of life come together in a way for you where you can have a different outcome. It feels to me, as I'm looking at this, is that in some ways the fear is overriding, but it's not something you're identifying as fear. You're seeing it as caution, you're seeing it as reason, you're seeing it as logical, and just like kind of logical assessment. I can look at all of this and I can put it all together. But what you're being told here, my very dears, is this. There is a need for you to allow for the fact that things can be different. Like, check in when you start anticipating. For those of you who are dealing with this in a love situation or in the idea of looking for love, you're being asked to, sorry, that card just distracted me because it's important, but I'll get to it in a second. You're being asked to check in with yourself when you start imagining a new future. And where does that imagination stop? Where does that dream of something wonderful and beautiful not even come into full bloom? And check to see what the energy is behind that, what's stopping that. Because sometimes just asking yourself the question, what's stopping me from dreaming bigger? What's stopping me from imagining that? You'll get a feeling in your heart that is going to tell you, oh, it's dread, it's fear of, it's anticipation of something negative, it's negative expectation, or it's and you can get a nuanced feeling about what it is. As soon as you identify that energy, Capricorn, you have the ability to breathe and understand where it's coming from, what it's coming from, and understand that it's old. That this is coming from a fear, that fear is not the reality of this. Fear of it being a future event is not going to be the thing that brings you what you would like, because it's preventing you from imagining better. That's important. Pay attention to that statement. Can I repeat it? No. Okay. So go back and listen to that, because it's important. There's that little catch about how to work with that energy. Now, they're telling me also that forgiveness is important, okay? So the fear card is important. I'm going to point that up. Fear is a prayer for what we don't want. And I believe that came originally out of Course in Miracles. I'm not sure. But if you think about fear as an energy that you are emitting, and that fear is an attraction, that energy is an attraction, fear becomes something that is going to magnetize those things to you that you're most afraid of, right? Fear is a very contracted energy. It's not this throwing the tiles of life, the things that are, the words, the letters. I'm getting convoluted here only because all of this information is coming in at once. These tiles carry letters. Letters make words. Words have power. Words manifest. Words create an energy that will manifest. So if fear is a prayer for what you don't want, and fear is what's keeping you locked into trying to organize all these letters to make the words exactly the way you want, what you're being taught is that fear is causing you to put basically your manifestation energy into an energy that is contracted and that is more likely to create more of what you have already experienced. What you're being asked to do is forgive. Because as you forgive, understanding that we're all here to learn and grow, you can expand beyond the thought that you are constant, that you are a victim, that people are out to hurt you. You are here to learn and to grow through your emotions, through your life, through your experience, and understanding the bigger picture of why we're here. That we are here to learn and grow, and that if we're here to learn that and understand that, we can forgive. And as we forgive, we let go of that energy of something that we're resisting, that we've been resisting. And that is the kind of thing that creates more, that attracts more of that. So what you're being asked to do, my very dear Capricorns, forgive what you need to forgive. Whether it was your own delusions, whether it was somebody being deliberately mean, whether or not it was having a parent who was aloof and taught you that you could only have aloof people in your life, whatever it is, forgiveness along the lines of understanding. We are all here to learn and grow. We are all in every situation, every single one in every single situation and relationship is here to learn and grow. And we are all possibly hurting other people, whether we mean to or not. You're being asked to look at the big picture, to realize that you can have new things come into your life, to have compassion. Be curious, but not in a way to blame. Just be curious. What was that caused that? Oh, if I can have compassion for myself and forgive myself, compassion for the other person, forgive the other person, my goodness, everything opens up now. And you're being told to lean into grace. I love this. Grace. Grace is not earned. Grace is a state in which we receive for no apparent reason a divine influence which strengthens us in a way that eases whatever problematic or miserable state we find ourselves. Grace needs only to be accepted in order to be received. Okay? And the last card that you're getting here in conjunction with all of this is there is another me. Today, no matter what emotion you're feeling, physical sensation you're experiencing, or event you're experiencing through your personality, remember and state silently, there is another part of me that is untouched and unaffected by this. There is another me watching me. And that is your higher self, my dears. That is your higher self that is able to have compassion, that understands the growth, that is able to let go of fear, that is able to trust and throw this manifestation energy up to the heavens, to the divine, to your angels, to your higher self, all of whom want the best for you and are willing to give it to you and are able to give it to you as you let go of the fear, as you forgive, as you lean into grace, and as you remember to connect with your higher conscious mind, which is beyond all of the hurt. Okay? I leave you with that, Capricorns. Take care.